talk about what getting on track means, because we all use that language, right? We always say, oh, we want to get back on track. That's what every client says to me, right? But the thing is, the truth is, what does it mean to you? Like, what is that going to look like for you? What are you actually trying to get back to? Or what are the elements that you loved maybe about a past version of yourself, that, or something you were doing, a feeling, you were in control, you were mastering yourself, you had time, you were prioritizing yourself. Like, what is the thing that you're wanting to feel? Were you happier? Were you fitter? Like, what is the thing that we're getting back to? Because to tell you the truth, you're not getting back to anything. It's that version doesn't exist anymore, right? So what we want to do is not recreate, but create, reinvent, if you like, from where you're at now, right? There's no point looking back 20, 30 years and going, oh, you know, I used to do this thing, or I used to feel like this, or I used to look like this. It's irrelevant, because what we're looking at now is what's present now, with your lifestyle, your health, your ability, your confidence, your experiences, your desires, like what you actually want, right? What do you want to get out of the experience working together? So if you're going to say, I want to get back to something, or I just want to get back on track, like my idea of getting back on track, when I get a bit lost and distracted, if you like, is to focus on my health, obviously. But my first thing I do in the morning is go and boil the jug, have some, I'll wait for it to cool, and then I'll have warm water with lemon, sorry, not honey, lemon. I will make my smoothie, even if I don't have that straight away. I will make it and get it ready. And I always walk the dog, right? So they're my three things that I do every morning that I feel like they're my getting back to me, right? So what if we change the language to say not getting back on track, but getting back to me, right? Because what we've got to do is take into account where you're at now. If I'm talking to a client about what they would like instead of what they're experiencing now, right? It doesn't matter what they were 20 years ago. It's irrelevant. But there may be some elements of something that you liked. Maybe right now you don't feel stable on your feet. You don't feel strong. Or you just not focused, can't be bothered, you don't want to eat, like whatever, right? You're trying to avoid eating, you're dieting, whatever the thing is. And honestly too, the other thing to take into account is that you can bet your bottom dollar 20, 30 years ago, yes, it may have been more fun, you might have been a bit sillier, you might have been just traveling, just being more free, whatever, right? But you probably weren't looking after your health, and you definitely wouldn't have been doing it sustainably in a way that feels good, the way that you can maintain it, right? Most, if we're talking 20, 30 years ago, were dieting. Most were looking at, at their weight. And the weird thing is 20, 30 years on, it's still an issue. They haven't solved anything. They're still doing what they did 20, 30 years ago, which is shit. And it didn't work. And here we are. So you really need to, lean into what you want now. What do you value? What's important to you? They're the things that we're looking at. That's how you get back to you. You don't get back on track, because you don't need a track. And honestly too, if I keep saying honestly, but if it's something that you had to stick to and you couldn't stick to, it mustn't be right? That's too hard. It's not going to, especially as we get wiser, we're just as busy, we're just as distracted, if not more, because we've got too many things going on around us. Most of it's not our own, right? It can be other people's stuff as well. There's not enough energy to go around. So being really aware of your capacity for a start, self-compassion, like be kind to yourself, having the clarity. So I guess with coaching, it really does help give you the clarity of what to do next. Like, what are those simple things we can do that works for your lifestyle, how you want to feel, that gives you the goals that you want, whether that be weight loss, whether that be getting fitter and stronger, whether that be working on your balance, recovering from injury, whatever whatever the goals are that you decide, right? And that's decided usually in our first session as to, and even prior to that, we do a questionnaire. So we go through, what type of, where you're at, basically, where you think you're at, what you'd like instead. That's all done prior. And then when we work together, we've nutted all that. We know your path. We know what you're doing next. And then we work on that, right? So often that's really important for you because you get clear and you can shut out all the noise because you now know this is where you're headed, this is what you're working on, this is what you want. Doesn't have to be the same all the time. You can change. You can do 1 week, you can be working on your water, your hydration. 1 week, you can be working on going for walks, like whatever, right? It doesn't matter what. It just matters that you are, right? That you are trying, that you are changing something, that you're working and getting some support and willing to put your hand up, willing to say, hey, I'm not feeling great. What can we do instead? What can I do about this? Because we are really good at sitting in it, right? It's just, we kind of weren't in the era, I don't know about you, but we weren't told to put our hand up, right? We were kind of told to just sit in the corner quietly, right? Which didn't ever gel with me, but still, that's how we were kind of brought up, right? In that era, like, you'll be right, off you go. So put your hand up, say, yes, I'm fucking over this shit. I'm not dealing with stuff. I'm not functioning how I'd like to function. I'm not looking and feeling how I'd like to feel. That is okay. Permission to feel shit, but permission to put your hand up to get some help. Yeah? So reach out if you'd like some help. But I just wanted to talk about that because I want you to reevaluate what getting on track even means for you, right? Everyone's going to be different. But what I'd like to say is stop looking back. Right, we're not looking back anymore. We're going, okay, what do we want? Right, we're looking forward. We're looking solutions. We're not looking at the problem so much and just focusing on that. We're going, right, what can we do now? What works for me? What feels good for me? Let's do that, right? So stop looking backwards. Yes, you are awesome and you still are awesome. There's more to come, right? Just don't forget that. As you evolve, grow, learn, become clearer, being able to, lift your confidence, lift your resilience, all the things that we need to do. And that doesn't mean, just so I'll say this, doesn't mean doing tougher things or being tougher or being harder or doing harder. God, we don't need that. we have done hard things. We know we are tough enough. We've earned our stripes. None of that, right? It's got to be making sense to you, easeful, comfortable. It doesn't have to be pushing out of comfort zones. Like, there's one thing I did mention this week. If you go to my stories, you'll see it too. Don't start at the end of the goal, right? So most people are setting goals. Maybe their goal was to lose 10 kilo. Maybe it was to climb Mount Kilimanjaro. I don't know, right? But they're starting at the end. So they've just forgotten how to do the steps to slowly build confidence and trust in themselves. And they expect that they're going to, nervous system wise and body wise, get to that top goal, and that's where they're starting, right? That doesn't work, right? That will absolutely crush your confidence. You will end up giving up because that's too hard. We build slowly with baby steps. We work out what your next step is and then do that, right? So reach out if you'd like some help. Talk soon. Bye.